Hi, I'm Dan Ferris, and I'm here to hopefully explain how to read wind direction from a weather station on a map that shows a weather station on a weather map. So let's pretend for our purposes that we have a weather map that only shows our cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west, and also shows northeast, southwest, southeast, and northwest. You can see the arrows going between each direction. These are going to be really important in understanding how wind is measured from directions. So let's go ahead and place a weather station in the middle of that map. We now have our weather station in the middle of our map that depicts our cardinal directions, standing over the arrows that are connecting the cardinal directions to each other. So let's put on our weather station a flag at the top of our building. When wind comes in, it's going to blow that flag towards a different cardinal direction. This is one of the most important facts of measuring wind direction. So now let me try to explain how you would do that if you were at a weather station and you were trying to figure out the wind direction. Here's our weather station. And let's pretend our weather station is on a map. And for purposes, our map is just the cardinal directions. So if we look down at our weather station, we see that we have a southern wind coming at 10, 5, 15 knots, blowing towards the north. An important thing to remember is wind direction is always stated in terms of where the wind is coming from. Now this is pretty hard for some people to grasp, so let me try to explain this. Let's say at your weather station, you're standing there, and you have a flagpole in the air with a flag. Yeah, I know, straw flags, really, really good at weather stations. But you have your flagpole and you have your flag. Now, you want to figure out where the wind is coming from. So let's say that the flag is pointing towards the east. Okay, cool. That means the wind is pointing the flag towards the east. So where's the wind coming from? Obviously, it is coming from the west. So what you would do, pretend on your flag, you have your flagpole extending out, and you see that it's pointing to the east. You would draw a line going east to west, which would give you the wind direction bar, showing the 10 plus 5 knots of speed that the wind has. So you have your wind coming from the west, as depicted, and blowing towards the east. So on a map, when you look at the weather station, you would not see this part, you would only see this. Your weather station right here, and the wind bar, showing the direction from the west. And you can see now that it flows towards the east, because our flag at our weather station would be flying east. So if our flag at the weather station was pointing north, as such, where would the wind be coming from? Obviously, from the south. Once again, you know you have the wind coming from the south, blowing north, so our flag, over there, that little Yahtzee paper, would be pointing northward, because you have a southern direction wind, pointing or flowing towards the north. So when somebody says, oh, we have to expect easterly winds today, what does that mean? Well, that means that the wind is going to be coming from the east, flowing towards the west, because we have an eastern wind. Wind is always depicted where it's coming from. So if you're at your weather station and you have an easterly wind, that means that your flag at the top would be pointing towards the west, because wind comes from the east, hits your flag, and points your flag west. So if you have a southeastern wind, your wind is coming from the southeast and pointing your flag to the northwest. Let's say you have a southwestern wind. The wind is coming from the southwest and pointing your little flag at the top of your weather station towards the northeast. So let's say you have your flag and your flag is pointing east. Where's the wind coming from? Well, draw a line from your flag all the way out to where it's coming from, and then bam, you see what you have on your weather station. You have a westerly wind. The wind direction is from the west, pointing towards the east. It's very confusing, I understand, but just remember, if you say you have a westerly wind, that means the wind is coming from the west. So if you're looking at a weather map and you see your weather station, and you see that your wind bar looks like this, that means you would have a 15-knot wind coming from the west, flowing towards the east. I hope that makes sense for you guys.